What is advertising? Is it something to be regarded as a work of beauty or art? Is it clever slogans or amusing prose? Is it workmanship to be judged for an award or recognition? It's none of the above. Advertising is salesmanship strapped to a rocket. An advertising copy, or copywriting, is salesmanship in print. The purpose of a copywriter's job is to sell. Period. The selling is accomplished by persuasion with the written word, much like a television commercial sells by persuading with visuals and audio. To properly understand advertising or to learn even its rudiments, one must start with the right conception. The only purpose of advertising is to make sales. It is profitable or unprofitable according to its actual sales. The difference is only measured in degrees. Advertising may appeal to thousands while the salesman talks to one. A salesman's mistake may cost little. An advertiser's mistake may cost 1,000 times that much. So the goal then becomes, how can we make our advertising as effective as possible? The answer is to test. And test again. And then test some more. If one ad receives a 2% response rate, and a second receives 3%, then we can deduce that the second ad will continue to outperform on a larger scale. Testing takes time and can be expensive if not kept in check. Therefore, it's ideal to start with some proven tested known ideas and work from there. For example, if testing has shown that targeted advertising significantly outperforms untargeted advertising, then we can start with that assumption and go from there. If we know based on test results, that crafting an ad that speaks directly to an individual performs better than addressing the masses, then it makes little sense to start testing with the assumption that it does not. This is common sense. So it stands to reason that knowing some basic rules or techniques about writing effective copy is required. Test results will always trump everything, but it's better to have a starting point before you test. So this starting point is the essence of this video. The 10 tips expressed here have been time-tested and are known to be effective. But I can't emphasize enough that when using these techniques, you should always test them before rolling out a large campaign. Sometimes a little tweak here or there is all that is needed to increase click-through rates dramatically. And with that, let's move on. Focus on them, not you. When a prospect reads your ad, the one thing he will be wondering from the start is, what's in it for me? And if your copy doesn't tell him, it'll be ignored faster than he can read the headline or lead. A lot of advertisers make this mistake. They focus on themselves, such as how long they've been in business or who their biggest customers are. Even the millions of dollars on developing this product. Those points are important, but they should be expressed in a way that matters to your potential customer. When writing your copy, it helps to think of it as writing a letter to an old friend. In fact, I often picture a friend of mine who most closely fits my prospect's profile. What would I say to convince this friend to try my product? How would I target my friend's objections and beliefs to help my cause? When you're writing to a friend, you'll use the pronouns I and you. When trying to convince your friend, you might say, look, I know you think you've tried every diet out there, but you should know that. And it goes beyond just writing in the second person, which is, addressing your prospect as you within the copy. There are many successful ads that weren't written in the second person. Some are written in the first person perspective, where the writer uses I. Other times the third person is used, with she, he, and them. And even if you do write in the second person, it doesn't necessarily mean your copy is about them. So how can you focus on them? Glad you asked. One way is to emphasize benefits, not features. What are features? They are descriptions of what qualities a product possesses. The car delivers 55 miles per gallon in the city, or our ladder's frame is made from a lightweight durable steel alloy. They are what those features mean to your prospects. You'll save money on gas when you use our energy-saving high-performance hybrid car, or a lightweight durable steel alloy frame means you'll be able to take it with you with ease while still supporting up to 800 pounds. No more backaches. I just made up those examples, but I think you understand my point. And don't get hung up on grammar. You are not writing to impress your English teacher. The only award you're after is your copy beating the best-selling copy so far. You want it to be read and acted upon, not read and admired. If you were selling an expensive watch, would you tell your customer that the face is 2 inches in diameter? No, you show him how the extra-large face will tell him the time at a glance. He won't have to squint. The point is to address the benefits of the product, not its features. And when you do that, you're focusing on your reader and his interests, his desires. The trick is to highlight those benefits so that they push your prospects' emotional hot buttons. Push their emotional hot buttons. This is where research really pays off. Because in order to push those buttons, you need to first know what they are. Listen to this story first, and I'll tell you what I mean. Once upon a time, a young man walked into a Chevrolet dealer. He had the money, and he was ready to make a buying decision. But he couldn't decide if he wanted to buy the Camaro or the Ford Mustang up the road at the Ford dealer. A salesman approached him and soon discovered the man's dilemma. "Tell me what you like best about the Camaro," said the salesman. "It's a fast car. I like it for its speed," the man replied. After some more discussion, the salesman learned the man had just started dating a cute college cheerleader. So what did the salesman do? He changed his pitch to push the hot buttons. He told the man about how impressed his new girlfriend would be when he came home with this car. He placed the mental image in the man's mind of he and his girlfriend cruising to the beach in the Camaro. And suddenly the man saw it too and bought it. The salesman found those hot buttons and pushed them until the man realized he wanted the Camaro more than he wanted his money. Even though the man said he liked the car because it was fast, subconsciously, what he really desired was a car that would impress his girlfriend. Perhaps the man didn't even realize this fact himself. But the salesman sure did. Now, where does the research pay off? When you're writing copy, it's very important to know upfront what your prospect's wants, needs, and desires are. If you haven't done your homework, your prospect is going to decide that he'd rather keep his money than buy your product. It's been said many times, people don't like to be sold, but they do like to buy. And they buy based on emotion first, and then they justify their decision with logic. So be sure to back up your emotional pitch with logic to nurture the justification at the end. Incorporating proof and believability. When your prospect reads your ad, you want to make sure he believes any claims you make about your product or service. Because if there's any doubt, he won't buy, no matter how sweet the deal. So what can you do to increase the perception of believability and still ensure your copy is accurate and truthful? Here are some tried and tested methods that will help. If you're dealing with existing customers who already know you deliver as promised, emphasize the trust and remind them. Include testimonials of satisfied customers. Be sure to put full names, locations, and pictures where possible. If you have enough compelling testimonials, and they're believable, you're much better off including them. Pepper your copy with facts and research findings to support your claims. Be sure to credit all sources, even if the fact is common knowledge, because a neutral source goes a long way towards credibility. If your sales copy is from a specific individual, be sure to include his credentials to establish him as an expert in his field. Cite any awards or third-party reviews the product or service has received. Include a great return policy and stand by it. This is just good business policy. If you can swing it, add a celebrity endorsement. It will always help to establish credibility. Fear. Fear is a major emotional hot button. It's been proven that people will generally do more to avoid pain than to obtain pleasure. So why not use that to your advantage? Reveal a flaw about your product. This helps alleviate the too good to be true syndrome. But you reveal a flaw that isn't really a flaw, just to show that you're being upfront about your product's shortcomings. If you are limiting the offer with a deadline order by date, be sure the deadline is real and does not change. Deadline dates that change every day are sure to reduce credibility. Avoid baseless hype. The unique selling proposition. Also known as the unique selling position, this is often one of the most misunderstood elements of a good sales copy. It's what separates your product from your competitors. Let's take a quick look at some unique selling propositions for a product. Lowest price. If you've got the corner marketed on budget prices, flaunt it. Walmart has made this USP famous. In fact, selling for cheaper has been around as long as capitalism itself. Superior quality. If it outperforms your competitor's product or is made with higher quality materials, it's a good bet that you could use this fact to your advantage. Superior service. If you offer superior service, people will buy from you instead. This is especially true with certain services. Exclusive rights. This is my favorite. If you can legitimately claim that your product is protected by a patent or copyright, then you have a winner for exclusive rights. If you have a patent, even the President of the US must buy it from you. Okay, what if your product or service is no different than your competitors? Well, there are always differences. The trick is to turn them into a positive advantage for you. So what can we do in this scenario? One way is to present something that your company has devised internally that no other company does. But what if you truly have the same product for sale as the next guy? Unless your prospect knows the inner workings of both your and your competitor's product, including the manufacturing process, customer service, and everything in between, then you have a little potential creative licensing here. But you must be truthful. For example, if I tell my readers that my product is bathed in steam to ensure purity and cleanliness, it doesn't matter that Joe's beer up the road does the same thing. As with most ways to boost copy response, research is the key with your USP. Sometimes your USP is obvious. Other times you must do a little legwork to discover it or shape it to your target market. The headline. If you're going to make a single change to boost your click-through rate, focus on your headline, not the copy. Why? Because 5 times as many people read your headline than your copy. Quite simply, a headline is an ad for your ad. People won't stop their busy lives to read your copy unless you give them a good reason to do so. So a good headline promises some news and a benefit so that it's impossible to resist by your target market. And those last 3 words are important. Your target market. Okay, now where do you find great headlines? You look at other successful ads using a spy tool like Antrex. I like Antrex, so check out the link in the description. Your headline should create a sense of urgency. It should be as specific as possible. For example, say $1,072,74 instead of just $1 million. The more you tell, the more you sell. The debate on using long copy versus short copy never seems to end. Usually it is a newcomer to copywriting who seems to think that long copy is boring. But long copy will outperform short copy every time. But it has to be targeted and optimized and not boring. There have been many studies and split tests conducted on the long copy versus short copy debate. And the clear winner is always long copy. Some significant research has found that readership tends to fall off dramatically at around 300 words, but does not drop off again until around 3,000 words. And make sure you don't throw everything you can think of in there. You only need to include as much information as you need to make the sale and not one word more. Some prospects will read every word and then go back and reread it again. Some will read the headline and then skim much of the body before landing on the close. Which brings us to the next tip. Right to be scanned. Your layout is very important in your sales copy, because you want your copy to look inviting and refreshing to the eyes. In short, you want your prospect to stop what he's doing and read it. If he sees tiny margins, or no breaks in the text, or no white space, or no subheaders, do you think he'll be tempted to read it? When coming up with your headline, some of the headlines that didn't make the cut can make great subheaders. A good subheader forces your prospect to keep reading by threading him along from start to finish while also providing the glue to keep skimming. The structure of AIDA. There's a well-known structure in successful sales letters, described by the acronym AIDA. AIDA stands for attention, interest, desire, action. First, you capture your prospect's attention. Then you want to build a strong interest in your prospect. You want him to keep reading, because if he reads, he just might buy. Next, you channel a desire. You want to capitalize on an existing desire, which your prospect may or may not know he already has. And you want your prospect to experience that desire for your product or service. Finally, you present a call to action. You want him to click the Buy Now button. You need to ask for the sale. Use scarcity to increase the urgency. When you limit the supply of a product, basic economics dictates that the demand will rise. In other words, people will generally respond better to an offer if they believe the offer is about to become unavailable or restricted in some way. And of course, the opposite is also true. It's your job, therefore, to get your prospect to buy, and buy now. Using scarcity to sell is a great way to accomplish that. There are basically three types of takeaways: limiting the quantity, limiting the time, limiting the offer. In the first method, limiting the quantity, you are presenting a fixed products. After they're gone, that's it. In the second method, a deadline is added to the offer. It should be a realistic deadline and not one that changes all the time. Deadlines that change decrease your credibility. This approach works well when the offer or the price will change, or the product will become unavailable after the deadline. The third method, limiting the offer, is accomplished by limiting other parts of the offer, such as the guarantee, bonuses, or the price. When using scarcity, you must be sure to follow through with your restrictions. If you say your offer will expire at the end of the month, make sure it does. Otherwise, your credibility will take a hit. Prospects will remember the next time another offer from you makes its way into their hands. Another important thing you should do is explain the reason why the offer is being restricted. Wrapping up. Great copy is made, not born. It is derived from proven test results which are designed to sell and nothing more. Effective advertising doesn't always use grammatically correct English. It uses short sentences. Fragments. Like this. It convinces you to buy, and buy now. It talks about benefits, not features. It sells on emotion and reinforces the decision to buy with logic. It paints a compelling picture and an irresistible offer that forces your prospect to act and act now. And if it doesn't, then you drop that ad and go with